lot of teams pick the Tristana Nautilus combination into the Zeri to make that happen, to try to get her with burst damage in the early lane phase, because she is quite a squishy champ. I do think her wave clear is decent so far, or relatively decent, to allow her to cut back and allow her to avoid fights and just make dives difficult. However, if we know anything about TT so far, is they don't need a creep wave to make a dive happen, so I don't know if that will necessarily deter them.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be this Jinx locked in for Puff once again. See where FPX are going to go. Junglers available, things like the Hecarim still very, very strong, but the Ryze already gone. I feel like TT have kind of picked up the two optimal carries that they could get, and FPX going for a much more short-range composition with this Galio locked in for Gori as well. Feels like trying to protect Lwx. It worked well in game number 2, and it looks like a classic combo for the top side as well with this Galio Camille.
And the Galio Camille, with the Renekton down, you normally can kind of expect to see the Camille coming out in those situations. One of the only things that really makes her life miserable in the early game. But LPL teams in general are just way more willing to pick this Galio Camille combination blind or in unfavorable situations, because you can almost always catch someone out with it, right? It's very powerful, very oppressive. When you see this Jinx, unless you grab a Thresh or something in those situations, no Tom catch available either. Definitely feels like she's not going to have a lot of ability to get out of that combination.
It's going to be Ucal though. I don't know. This Diana, like you're saying, feels difficult potentially into this Galio that is so good at playing that anti-dive style. But I mean, Chieftain did such a good job in game number 1.
Oh,
I
yeah.
trust in Chieftain, you know? I trust in the ability to make this work. But the Rakan, the Viego banned by TT, Gangplank banned by FPX here. Not a ban I was necessarily expecting coming into today. Not even a pick I would be expecting coming into today. But new, relatively prolific Gangplank player. We saw it plenty of times last year from him. So see if it's going to be just another ban towards this top lane. They banned the Renekton, banned the Gangplank, now banning a Jax as well.
And I'm kind of interested to see what kind of supports we'll see picked up, because Tom Kench taken off the table, Rakan, the Thresh is still available. I'd be a little bit surprised to see, oh, they are just going to pick the tryndamere into the Camille right away and then leave the support for counterpick for Thundertalk.
I kind of like this though from Thundertalk, because they're just saying, look, we dived xiaolaohu a bunch in game number 1. It worked pretty nicely. Let's just draft a composition where we can dive xiaolaohu again. Tryndamere and Diana certainly going to be able to do a good job of that one. It's going to be down to Clid and Gori to try and protect their top laners. And Zhao, certainly good in those early game duels.
And I think going for the Ryze Tryndamere, you're very pick focused, you're very side lane focused. They're sort of acknowledging that this area is going to be really, really difficult to deal with in an open lane state. So they're incentivized to take T1s early. They're incentivized to spread out the map and to create picks that work so well for them in game 1.
Oh, Hung actually goes for an Alistar. It's a little while since we've seen an Alistar down in that bottom lane. Occasionally does get locked in, but still a strong, hard engaged support there, but also can play that sort of bouncer role. Surprised to see it locked in over things like the Leona, the Nautilus, a lot of other higher priority supports available.
Interesting to me that they're going for that, but you do have the commit from the Diana, so that works pretty well. You have a lot of... Oh, I did not expect a Taric to come out. But
yeah, me
think
either.
about the combination of the Tryndamere and the Taric. They don't have a lot of hard engage, so it should be pretty easy for Zeri to just create a lot of space, to kite a lot. But if you have that much longevity from your Tryndamere plus Taric combination with the old combo, eventually maybe you can get on top of her and run her down. So that seems to be the logic that TT are coming with, and we asked for creativity in their drafts, Munchables. This definitely is a bit out there.
We asked for creativity, and they have delivered in spades. TT, a totally different look at how they want to play the game here. Chieftain and Ucal, a lot of roaming potential. SouthWind bringing a Taric out. And as you're saying, that combination between the Tryndamere and Taric when it comes to those ultis, man, The entire goal of this composition, it seems, is just keep New alive at all costs. Just keep him completely invincible for the entire fight. We'll see if this tryndamere pick is going to be able to carry, but also Puff on the Jinx. When it comes to team fights, it can bring out a lot of damage, especially when you're invincible.
And also, you pointed out the Alistar. Alistar's not going to have the greatest lane phase against the combination of the Taric and the Jinx. Probably going to get chunked frequently in the lane. So in that situation, when you're thinking about, okay, if we have a low Alistar, suddenly maybe the bot dives are a bit more tenable, a bit more realistic to execute. So gotta keep my eye out for that Linkon to happen, to come through from the side of Thundertalk. And meanwhile, for FPX, the name of the game is keep Zeri alive, create a lot of options for her to have space in fights, and then lock down targets, perhaps like the Jinx with the Galio Camille. It's not going to work out for you if you commit onto New, most likely, and the Taric has a lot of options to deal with the Galio Camille. Really, more and more, I feel like this is one of the most impactful last picks that TT could have had, but let's see how they can make it work.
King Tryndamere up in this top side from New. It's not a pretty skin, but it sends a message, you know? It's one of those skins that you lock in, not because you think it looks good, but because you believe in yourself. And New certainly been having a pretty decent series for himself so far. But I'm really looking at this jungle matchup. We've been talking about this mid lane matchup as well, but not much will happen there until that level 6 mark. But I feel like Clid has an advantage in this early game on the Zins out against the Diana, right? You'd expect him to be able to win out the duels and perhaps could go for something a little aggressive as New wants to spot out the enemy jungler. Did see him there, did see it start off, so Clid has been spotted by TT.
When you think of the Galios and Zhao combo, they have a fair amount of tankiness and longevity in these fights as well, so if they can get the ball rolling, Xin Zhao coming to the Galio lane, they have a bit of a 2v2, then they can start exerting that pressure. Then they can start making sure TT side lanes can't play up, despite they have the fact that you have a Tryndamere who's going to have a pretty happy time versus the Camille or Leon in the game.
Yeah, we're rolling the dice. New gets 1 out of 3 crits so far, which, you know, he'll be happy with. That's exactly on odds. Now going for it again, waits for the shield to go down. Another crit coming up through. And this is Tryndamere Gaming, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you make it happen. The level 2 finish. He'll have his Q now as well, so it becomes even more difficult for xiaolaohu to trade.
And already, typically you don't think of Camille's being diveable this early on in the lane phase, but not having a good time, just getting run up for daring to contest the wave level 1 against the Tryndamere, and I was gonna have to play a little bit safer under tower.
Chieftain on a ward here as Clid moves in, hasn't been spotted just yet. He wants to contest on the red buff. New moving over though. Looks like New had an idea what is going on. New has been in Clid's head all game long. Everywhere Clid goes, New is next to him in the jungle watching.
New having a pretty good read on what Clid will want to do. I think Clid, as you pointed out, incentivized to try to deny Chieftain, to make some kind of early skirmish happen. Showing on this mid wave, like we said, maybe they can provide a bit of relief for xiaolaohu, since he did lose his pots, did lose his HP early on.
Ooh. Down by Hung. Not going to lead to much, but yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, considering how this matchup should typically go, I feel like Hung and Lwx have been performing very well on the bot side. Getting the wave in, not necessarily seeing SouthWind threaten as much with brush control with the level 1 that Taric has available.
Yeah.
Partly
like,
because I believe they reached.
Yeah, Puff and SouthWind went for the lich to start this one off. There's Clid now going to go for an invade once again. This is what we're talking about with the Diana versus Zhao. Zhao can be quite aggressive in this kind of matchup, but so far not finding the opportunities thanks to the vigilance that New has been bringing to the top side of the map. It means that actually it's just a small CS lead in favor of Chieftain so far, but wave crashing on this top side, it means New will be able to just stay here, start to sweep that wave up, try and even up the CS deficit that's actually started to build up in this top side.
And it's not really a big deficit. He has been trading more in the lane. Oh, so xiaolaohu should win this short trade, but when he doesn't have his passive or his combo available, and Soul chase him down.
Yeah, and remember,
should even out Okay.
I was just going to mention, New has Ghost, right? So that's where the CS deficits come from, or xiaolaohu, who hasn't actually TP'd yet, but that's where it can come from. Gori having to flash away in the mid lane, but he's taken down anyway. Ucal and Chieftain once again exposing this FPX mid lane.
Chieftain just really enjoying this Diana pick. I think overall, good call from FPX in the previous game to ban it out because not looking as comfortable on the Sejuani, but Chieftain didn't get the memo. Most people like to say Diana doesn't really start having an impact until level 6. This guy is not afraid things to have things happen level 3, level 5. Any old time someone's out of position in their lane or threatening to get their wave in, Chieftain is there.
Oh yeah, Hung, another double knock up in this bottom side. Hung is loving this Alistar, and honestly, it perfectly fits with how I view Hung as a player, right? This is the guy that we always talk about having flash as a basic ability. Well, he is more than happy to go forward and make things happen. The stun comes out to answer, though. Exhaust onto the Zeri as well as Chieftain comes into the play. Puff is surely going to find an advantage, but Chieftain the one to get the kill in the end. And it's TT 2-0 on the board.
And Hung, even as we were praising his engage there, he was engaging with Lwx, farming the wave merrily, so just getting a little bit of Alistar on the headbutt pulverize, damage from Alistar on the headbutt pulverize, which meant that he was having to walk back to his AD carry, maybe getting autoed a bit, so the fact that Chieftain was just laying in wait there, not really thinking about when the jungle should be on the bot side, really nice capitalization from Thunderdog.
Great stuff, Chieftain on this Diana pick. I mean, you were talking about how he's enjoying playing this Diana pick. I'm enjoying watching him play this Diana pick as the level 6s are hitting the top side. New has Ghost available, has the ultimate available. Is he going to make the play? Is he going to commit to this one? Looks like it. Ghost pops xiaolaohu, trying to get under the tower. The flash forward from New. One more auto will do the trick. The slow comes in as well. The spinning slash is not going to be dodged because it's not even going to be needed. xiaolaohu solo killed by New.
Yeah, and I think xiaolaohu making a little bit of a mistake there, going for the Q trade, which pretty much just gave New permission to run him down at that point with no passive available, and the ultimate Ghost up. Pretty easy to secure that kill. Chieftain was there in case something happened, so I felt like there was almost no way at that point that xiaolaohu was going to live in that situation. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, we got a preview of the play.
Yep, no bone plating. No passive, no W. Just at this point, you have no defensive ability, or you're just gonna get run down. Oh no.
It's a tough one. And that W kind of seals the deal, right? The ultimate has to come out from xiaolaohu to try and dodge a spinning slash, but New didn't even need the spinning slash. He's got the ghost proccing, right? So he could just keep chasing that one forevermore. Now TT with a small gold lead, but it is still only small, right? Ultimately, it's FPX on the bottom side do still have somewhat of an advantage in terms of being able to control things, get the Drake for themselves. And we keep on seeing Clid trying to find these invades, trying to find an individual advantage, but so far it's not really led to much.
Yeah. Talked about these junglers having definite comfort picks, and the Lee Sin not being available for Clid. He looks like a very different player so far in this game. But of course, we did mention that New able to spot him out on level 1 and to deter his initial invades. So praise to Thunder Talk there, and also praise to FPX for at least looking for that and understanding that he has to make something happen early.
This bottom side clearing some vision as Lwx has been found.
Oh,
Great
nice
flash from SouthWind, the zap and the rocket from Puff. And TT, that is an easy pickup for them, and an uncharacteristic mistake here from Lwx. FPX now with Herald on the map. Surely they can't contest this one. As Ucal, he's moved towards the bottom side, but he has that realm warp. But FPX are just going to go in on Chieftain. And TT, I mean, what a fumble. Man advantage and everything, and they... I don't know why they're not grouped.
Yeah, so it looks like they had stopped, pushed the wave, and Chieftain just starting the Rift Herald there. But if SouthWind had been in position, going up from the bot side and had ult available, there's no way that really FPX should be able to get a flank or a surprise onto TT. So just a bit of weird gap in communication there. But Thunder Talk overall still ahead I'm eyeing the Camille as potentially a comeback angle. The Zeri also scaling up, so FPX aren't out of this by any means.
Yeah, the blast cone, meaning SouthWind can close this gap, then Ucal pushes down. Nicely done here by TT to find that pick. Now, again, a minor gold lead for TT, but honestly, the fact that there is any gold lead for TT. Remember the two teams that are coming into this series, right? Remember where these two teams are on the standings. TT should be a massive underdog in just about any series they play in the LPL right now. And that's why, because Ucal can't even hit a Q on a cannon minion, apparently. No, but in all seriousness, FPX should be a heavy favorite coming into this series. So the fact that TT winning game number 1 of this series, now game number 3, doing a really good job in the early game as well, this is a great sign for TT. This is a hopeful look for TT.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and I'm not counting chickens before they're hatched by any means. Camille will have an opportunity to potentially do some damage in some of these fights, but I think that ThunderTalk's composition does well into what FPX has available, and the star once again is going to be Lwx as the
Lwx has been having a great game for himself as well, or has been having a great day for himself, sorry. Especially game number 2 on the Jinx. Zeri, definitely a very mechanically intensive champion, which Lwx is proven over the years. Mechanics are certainly top tier. Pressure huge wave from that top side. Not decided to go for a dive there, despite Chieftain being around in the area. Just go for a reset. Lwx, I believe, got that fight down in the bottom side as well. And again, very slow pace of game, right? We saw game number 2 definitely slow things down in this series. TT felt more comfortable in that faster pace, but as you're saying, Drake up in 30 seconds, perhaps an opportunity for TT to kick things off again.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, at this point, ThunderTalk are not necessarily really incentivized to take fights. The Camille TP is about to be back up, and Nu's heading top lane again, so there'll be a window here where Camille TP will be up, FPX setting up the dragon. You still have Zhao in a pretty comfortable position, so I think PT making the correct decision to not contest.
Okay, so FPX going to be the ones on the objective. This will be their second break of the game as well. So really nice start for them in terms of those objectives. But also, that Herald's still in pocket for Clid. So we need to look at where he's going to drop that one, which laner he wants to inject gold in. But as you said before, realistically, Lwx is the big carry in this composition. You'd love to see Clid move towards his bottom side with Puff and SouthWind trying to just contest for Tri-Brush. They're trying to not lose control of this bot side jungle because they will be dived if they do.
But I don't necessarily know how easy the dive would be, considering you have the Jinx rockets. Pretty easy to clear the wave overall. Also, you don't really necessarily want to dive a Taric with ulta. Doesn't go exceptionally for you, so ThunderTalk should also feel like they're pretty safe. It's just more the idea of accelerating the lead for Lwx with play golds when available that I'm looking for here, and then seeing if xiaolaohu can make impactful short trades, can lock down a target on ThunderTalk's side.
Not happened though, as Clid actually just drops the Herald in that mid lane instead. But I guess it was just a matter of, look, Herald's going to time out eventually. Let's just use it when we have an opportunity to use it, get a couple of plates for ourselves. And even if Gori gets the plates, I mean, Galio these days you do build AP, so it's not like Gori isn't a damage threat at all. So still valuable to get the plates on the side of FPX, and it is going to mean that they've closed the goal gap ever so slightly. Still about 1,000 in favor of TT. That'll extend ever so slightly. Is Puff going to be able to get some solo time on the spot lane tower? That's 2 plates taken with really nothing else happening on the map. That's not something that should be occurring. And actually, it's going to be an entire tower taken as the plates fall as we hit the 14-minute mark. Puff gets the first tower of the game. I'm kind of gobsmacked.
What I liked about this little exchange here was ThunderTalk were aware that FPX were on the top side, right? That most of the members were there. Then they just walked in aggressively into the bot side, took advantage of the basically tempo lead that they had just from that map movement, and got the tower for free. Why don't leave Jinx alone in a lane versus plates? on a tower.
Yeah, turns out Jinx pretty good at taking tower plays. Who could have known this?
Shocking information, you know?
I know, I know.
This is why people need analysis to interpret the game, so that they can get these kinds of insights.
Exactly. Well, Puff certainly, I think, already knew the situation is cleared now, taking a bit of damage from Ucal, who's trying to defend, and will be able to do so. Chieftain there, as well as SouthWind to help him out, but you can see Puff moving towards that mid lane, or in fact, perhaps changing his mind. Perhaps we'll have to stick towards the bottom side of the map. I'm not sure as New grabs himself a Scuttle Crab. And I do want to quickly mention the fact that New has fallen a bit behind in that top side, despite that early kill that he got for himself. In terms of CS, having a bit of a struggle. Oh, that's a bit of a pick, Gori. Can't follow too much onto Puff there.
Yeah. Realistically, shouldn't fall there, but what I am looking forward to is, I feel like we're about overdue for a fight. This Rift Herald is up.
I agree.
FPX moving into the top side. We have mythics completed for both ADs here, and I think the scary thing is that FPX in a team fight is still pretty powerful, so you want SouthWind to almost preemptively pop that.
Lids in, here we go. Taric ulti coming across as well, but it's only on to 2 members. New in the back line right now. He's 1v3, and in the meantime, Puff just attacking away. The health bar's dropping for FPX. Gori will fall, and it's 4 men strong for TT. It's looking good for the bottom tier squad once again. They want to change that reputation. Puff aggressed upon, but xiaolaohu to fall. Puff with the reset, but Lwx turning it around. Finds his opponent in the AD carry, but will be the last man standing.
And this is exactly what we were looking for in these fights. You have the Taric ulti to keep your backline safe, while tryndamere pops his ultimate and goes really, really ham onto the enemy backline. Clint getting a bit excited, initiating there, but overall, just note one thing about FPX's composition. They're looking for that all-in wombo combo using their ultimates. Meanwhile, TT can outlast almost any of these combos, right? They just last it out with the Taric ultimate, with the tryndamere ultimate. Oh my gosh, New is a monster in this fight here. Takes one down 1v3. Meanwhile, Jinx able to stand back, just calmly auto attack, and to carry the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Fight.
I mean, a little greedy at the end. It has to be said. Jinx got excited, Puff got excited as well. And unfortunately, Lwx knows how to press Q, so gets a nice, easy little shutdown at the end of the fight. But either way, still a great situation for TT, because now almost 3,000 gold ahead, a charge in the mid lane, and apparently we were overdue on these fights, because we get another. Puff grabbing that kill to start this one off. Clint trying to escape. Puff basically out of mana. TT do have to be cautious on this one, but it should open up the Drake.
I can see the angle that FPX were going for there, right? The ultimate on SouthWind was still down. Pretty long cooldown on that, so they saw that opportunity where New was split off. Maybe they could make an engage happen, but his positioning from Puff overall, and basically, even though SouthWind had no ultimate, was able to buy a lot of space in that fight.
Done. 3-9 now on the scoreboard. TT once again looking good. 4,000 gold lead as xiaolaohu moves up to this top side. I have to say, xiaolaohu has had a good game for himself, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to be able to come back in this one. I feel like Lwx is the man that has to step up to the plate. He's down in CS, but does have the 2 kills. Gori trying to get a taunt in that bottom side, but it's not going to happen for him. As Clint moves up to this top lane as well. Ucal in the area, but with Hung moving over, I'm not sure Ucal can contest. This should be the tier 1, now taken by FPX.
And one thing that might be a little bit underrated when you think about these two compositions is how much having these open map states, even if they're giving turrets over to the Camille on these really, really long, elongated lanes without structures or vision, actually favors Undertalk's composition. They have a lot of sustained damage on their side laners who are pretty safe, really enjoy chasing opponents down in those long lanes, and I think they're happy to have a map that's open this early on.
Yeah, they're happy to be able to just roam around, you know, have that space and that freedom to play how they want to play. It's, you know, it's like cows in the field. They always want to have the open range, you know, they don't want to be stuck in the cages. That's a weird metaphor to make, but you know, we're rolling with it.
Yeah,
We're a
take
vegan
it.
stream here today. I actually had a vegan pizza last night. I'm not gonna lie, they are getting so much better. I'm not vegan, but I like experimenting with the cool vegan foods that are coming out these days. It's so much better than it used to be. Some of them are actually really tasty now. Vegan pepperoni, pretty up there.
Yeah.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
I don't know what vegan pepperoni is made of, but I do know that
Not me.
the flip side of an open map state is that you can get a lot of these picks for FPX. And that's really the goal here for them, is just to find someone without the Taric ulti available, without tryndamere nearby, and to take someone down and set up to try to take a 4v5 around a neutral.
Yeah, we'll see if they're gonna find that opportunity. Puff gets excited, but not gonna push for anything more there. Just gonna be a tower in the mid lane for TT. That is now 2 of the 3 tier 1s knocked down across the map for TT, whereas FPX only have that tower up in the top side. xiaolaohu, the only one with any real pressure from the side of FPX across the course of this game when we're talking about the laning phase here. And we'll be able to chase New away on the bottom side. I'm surprised that New isn't feeling a little more aggressive in this bottom lane matchup, honestly, considering he does have that Gale Force, has the executioners as well. I feel like maybe he would win the 1v1 if he went a bit more aggressive.
So we don't really have vision of FPX, right? They did take their resets there, but there's always a chance that they're leaning to the bot side, looking to flank on an over aggressive New. So once New stops showing, gets the wave, now we have permission and ability for GT to walk into top side, get some division down, which will allow them to kind of really get a better sense of where FPX is on the map, so that their side laners can take these more aggressive 1v1s.
So New opting out of the 1v1 now as he rejoins the rest of his team. Ucal just going to push this top wave out. But it looks like New will have to make the long journey back down. And remember, this is the point in the game where New having that ghost instead of teleport is going to start to hurt the side of TT. If he plays towards the bottom side, and xiaolaohu plays towards the top side, that teleport can mean that New can't really get any side pressure, but also can't participate in any Baron.
And this is where communication is going to be really essential between New and Ucal. They're going to have to be able to call very clearly who is strong side of this play. So when someone is their turn to show in a side lane on the map, the other one has to be willing to stand in vision and fog. And they have to get the timings very well and very down correctly, because New doesn't have the TP, like you mentioned. So he's better off just kind of hovering between the mid lane and his side of the map, so that 1, he doesn't lose a wave, and 2, there's always the threat that he could be there in 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
He's always lurking. He's always somewhere in the shadows. Drake coming up in 20 seconds, though, and that's where my eyes are drifting right now. Ucal still on the top side, but New, we mentioned his lack of TP. Doesn't matter too much when he's already stood at the objective, but they're looking for a play in the mid lane by the looks of things. Flank onto Lwx, perhaps, but Lwx on this Zeri, pretty sure can just skip over a wall and will be perfectly safe, but denying a wave, at least in that mid lane, and giving themselves entrance into this river once more, where they will be able to take this Drake uncontested.
Yeah, and it looks like FPX being ahead on the top side, able to threaten this 2-2. Probably not necessarily thinking that they want this Drake. They're sitting on 2 Drakes themselves, giving one over to Thunder Talk. Not the end of the world, so they're just going to set up vision top side. Maybe see if they can rotate the Jinx, or the Zeri up on the next wave and thread the T2. Oh, on that rotation though.
Bit of a toughie, but they'll be okay. They get themselves the Drake, and it's 2-piece on Drakes now. As once again, I feel like we had a quite slow early game. We reached our quota, and TT were like, "Look, you need some kills, you need some action. Let us sort you out." And we had a couple of back-to-back fights. It was all very exciting, and then we're like, "Okay, that's enough of that. Let's settle down again. Let's just play it slow for the next 10 minutes because we've returned to normalcy." And you know, it does make a lot of sense when you've got Klid, Chieftain, Ucal, Gori, all players over from the LCK. So makes a lot of sense that we would have teams with a bit of a slower mindset coming into this year. xiaolaohu getting aggressed upon. This is what we were talking about. New being aggressive while he can't see the whole squad from FPX. Gori here to punish, gets the taunt. The CC chain is there, but New actually gets out with his life.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Just managing to buy a lot of time pulling them all down to the bot side. So, I mean, if you're Thunder Talk, you might consider having the TP, going to the top side instead. It's like, we pulled all of this pressure, now we can get a T1 turret on the top side. Now we can get something else on the other side. So not quite getting anything out from it, so it just looks like Nu is carelessly and heedlessly engaging on bots, but it's out for it at least. Now, Thunder Talk has a very low cooldown on that ultimate, so maybe can cause some more chaos on the opposite side of the map as they set up for this Baron.
Yeah, xiaolaohu finishes that tower in the bottom side. TT not actually going to start the Baron off, just going to go for some vision. I wasn't sure. I was like, you know, they do have a Jinx, and they're aware that people are on the bottom side right now. But Gori and xiaolaohu both had TP up, so I think it perhaps would have been a little overzealous to try and start that Baron off. They decide that's too much for them for the time being. Nu just going to crash another wave. Wave might actually just finish that tower by itself if nobody shows up. Nu really wants that local gold, toyed with it. He's just out of range. There we go. Gets himself an extra little bit of cash. We'll be able to head back to base and grab some items. But he's on 2 items already at this point, so this tryndamere starts to become real scary if you step too far forward.
And that is their FPX's reward, the T1 for burning Nu's ultimate and forcing him to recall at low HP. But the nice thing is that they were in position to get some vision. It looked like SouthWind just didn't have a lot of wards available. So they didn't lay down a lot of vision, but the thought was there, you know? Yeah, they had an idea.
As long as you're thinking about vision, that's all that really matters, you know?
Yes.
Like, it's not about actually playing well, guys. It's about thinking about playing well. That's why I always, whenever I'm playing, I'll have a Twitch streamer on my other monitor. And that way I can think about playing well, like watch someone else play well, have the vibe of playing well while I run it down in my silver promos. Nu gonna go very aggressive here on towards Hung as he slices his way back out of the play. And Puff immediately just gonna start the Baron. xiaolaohu pushing on the bottom side, and TT pull the trigger. This is a team that are decisive. 5k on the Baron. Clid can't even get close to contest this one. The Baron goes down before the fight ever begins, and now Clid is alone in the middle of everyone. Galio about to arrive, but Clid's already fallen. Lwx chased away by Chieftain, and now it's Gori alone. Realm warp to the rest of the players. Puff just cuts through them. Lwx fell as well. It's a disaster for FPX, and this is the decisive TT we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, I'm just really enjoying the fact that getting Hung low enough, knowing that he's going to have to recall, was enough for them to commit to this Baron. And TT wants FPX to commit to them. Their entire composition is drafted around that. They have the Taric in place. They know that if they ult into us, we're going to be ready. And they grab the Baron, take it.
They've got a tryndamere and a
Jinx.
So. I think they're just going to end the game right here. The 2 towers are already down. Taric trying to play Peel. Puff getting through Hung, looking for Clid next. He's got the resets. Everybody's going to die. TT have done it. They just needed Kelsey on the cast, the biggest fan available. 2-1 to TT, and they end their losing streak.
Thunder Talk came today at the top of the hour. We said, we want creativity. We want some of that creativity back from 2021. We got creative drafts. We've got some exciting concepts coming out from Thunder Talk's side, and it gives them that second win. We talked about them making playoffs being a distant dream, but if they keep pulling these performances, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but, you know, Thunder Talk